We've all gotten through it. Nobody's got any real destruction out there. Thank God. So many sad stories out there at the moment, but I'm really pleased that everybody could turn up tonight in spite of that, I suppose. So we're in for a real treat tonight. We have the expertise of some professionals here tonight that are at the top of their field, and they're ready to answer any and all of your questions and give you as much information as they possibly can. So our first guest speaker tonight is a lady who I've known for a long time. She's a woman who has had 7 years experience in conveyancing in the northwest area of Brisbane. She started her legal career in Bundaberg, yes, and first started as a junior in a law firm, which I suppose we all start.
That wasn't that long ago, Vicki, was it?
Sometimes it just feels like yesterday. She's worked her way through the ranks. This is a lady that I know and trust with my customers and have no hesitation in recommending to anybody. She's always been one of those people who is quite willing to answer questions from anyone as well. So she's the face of the conveyancing within the firm that we're talking about tonight, which is Eaton Lawyers. And so will you please help me welcome in Tanya?
Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Tanya Brischetto and I'm a conveyancing paralegal at Eaton Lawyers. Eaton Lawyers is based in Arana Hills and we have a team of 5 lawyers and a total of 13 staff. But before I get into the rundown of our office, firstly thank you Alan and Vicki for the opportunity to come and talk with you. This is my first guest speaking appearance, so again thank you Alan and Vicki for that. As Vicki said, straight from high school into a law firm in the good old country town of Bundaberg that's been a bit wet lately as well. So please be nice to me and I'll try my very best to answer all your questions. As I said, Eaton Lawyers is a firm based in Arana Hills, but we also have offices in Mount Isa and Jindalee. Jindalee's a little bit wet at the moment, but it will be up and going again. My principal, Anthony Eaton, is a visionary really. He's a very inspirational man who wants his firm to be your family lawyers. Basically our aim at Eaton's is to be able to help people at grassroots level and at also the good times in your life and also the very stressful times like litigation, divorce, property settlements. As I said, we've had 5 lawyers. We cover all aspects of law except for immigration and trademark law, which are specialist areas. We have a same-day phone call return policy. A friendly, welcoming office is a great place to work. I'm very proud to be part of the vision at Eaton Lawyers that we want to help as many people that walk through our doors and work hand in hand with a close network of professionals. We want to be there when you buy your first home, get your will done, get your kid out of jail, estates, divorce, God forbid. We want to be there every step of the way. So there's nothing that we can't do apart from trade luck and immigration law. So the purpose of tonight is to sort of give you all a bit of an insight of what happens when you buy a home. If you're all first home buyers interested or second, thirds, first? Okay. Basically, when you're buying a home, whether it's your first, your third or your 10th, it's important to have a good network of professional people behind you. From your Aussie brokers to your good real estate agents, and of course your paralegals and lawyers, you must feel comfortable and trust these people. You need to be able to talk to them honestly and get them to share your journey and your concerns, and what may be a silly question to you is not to us. I work on the principle it's not a silly question if you don't know the answer, and you can ask me as many times as you like in different ways that same question and I'm going to answer it, because it's important that you're relaxed, you're confident, and that way you have that power in enjoying that journey and buying your first home. Real estate's fantastic. It's a great way to compulsory save if you're like me and like to shop too much. But having a mortgage isn't and doesn't need to be a burden around anyone's neck. Okay? Basically, you are the client, so you're paying the bill. You need someone that you can relate to, talk to, and will take your calls. And again, humour any question that you have, little or big. Okay? The best part of my job, and I guess it's like a drug, it's very addictive, and that's making that phone call at the end of the process and saying, guess what, congrats, you've bought a piece of Queensland. Very rewarding part of my job, and still excites me some 20 years on. Now, whether I'm being shortchanged in life, I'm not real sure, but the rewards of my profession in that alone is very successful and also very, very rewarding. I've had a home and been a property owner since I was 18, and the feeling of being able to whack something up, paint it whatever colour you want, is second to none. Okay? So what I want to touch on tonight, and I can be here for a very long time bamboozling you really, but the basic process of what happens. First thing, when you make that decision, we're going to buy a home. You find a home you want. What do you do next? Okay. The main errors that I see people buying, and again, whether it's your first, your third, or your 10th home, they found a home and then they're like, well, what do we do now? They've taken that emotional decision, then we've got to work with a commercial one. A lot of people aren't prepared as to how much they can afford to borrow. No one knows what zoning it is in and what area, and in particular in the recent events, if it's subject to flooding, things like that. As part of our job, what we like people to do is be as well researched and organised as possible. And this is your first step. Coming to an information night like this is your first step. So congratulations to you for wanting to be informed. Basically, my job is to make sure the property you're buying is what you expect. That there's no registered easements, it's not heritage listed, it's not in contaminated land, you haven't got a bus zone running or being future developments in your area, things like that. So, from the start, do your research, be organised. Work out how much you can borrow, which will then govern how much you can pay for a property. We strongly recommend that you have your contract reviewed by a lawyer prior to you signing it. Now, I guess at the end of the day, like as I said, we have an office in Mount Isa, and their policy with their agents and that up there is every solicitor gets the draft first. Once then everyone's signed, 99% of the deals go through because there's no clauses that need changing. Everyone is on the same page right at the start. Unfortunately, in the market that we work with here in Brisbane, and also the after-hours transactions that go on, that's not always possible. So when you're making that decision of wanting to buy or going looking at a house, contact your lawyer or your broker and everyone beforehand so that you understand what your negotiation power is, how much deposit you're going to be looking at, and what sort of questions you need to be asking your agent prior to signing that contract. Now, as a buyer, you will have a cooling off period. If you do happen to sign a contract without it being reviewed, that's fine. But please be aware that once you've signed it, gone are the days where you can just say, I can't get finance, or, you know, the building of pests is no good. All right? You really would need to then rely on your 5 working day period of cooling off. Now, I don't know about you, but on a $400,000 property, the penalty attached to that's 0.25%, so that's $1,000. So I've got better things to do with $1,000 just to pay someone for the inconvenience of tying a property up. So be sure is what you need to be. Be confident, and that'll come back to being organised and researching. Okay. Again, there's 2 types of contracts. There's one for a constructed house or for vacant land, and one for buying a townhouse or a unit, you're part of a body corporate. Now, the body corporate contracts are very similar to the residential, apart from the fact that you have a disclosure statement and that you as an owner are like sharing ownership with however many other people are in that complex. So if you've got a group of 4 units or a group of 100 units, your lot and entitlement is that percentage of how big your complex is. People misunderstand that the body corporate is the one that own it, and that you know, you don't have a lot of They're acting as your managers, basically. And you will have additional expenses with respect to administration and sinking fund levies on top of your normal local authority and water rates. So that's something you need to factor in with your budgeting. Your real estate agent will give you a disclosure statement at the time of signing your contract or even before you're getting it in a draft. And then that way that will show you and tell you the assets of the body corporate and the common property areas and also the amount of your levies. Body corporates have a bank fund to cover the maintenance and ongoing expenses of a body corporate, and this again will be determined on how big the actual complex is. Now, when I'm